Hello, 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 everybody. I just realized that I didn't have any of my stars background up, so like very bare bones. Give me 1 second here. Let me make sure I have my overlay set up here to my liking before we start. There we go. Okay. That's better. All right. Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I firmly believe that everybody has intuition. So tonight's episode, we have on our little post-it note right over here, we are talking about the sixes of the minor arcana in a tarot deck by popular demand. A few months ago, we did discuss the fives and the sevens of the minor arcana of the tarot deck by popular request as well. So maybe we should have been doing these in order, but oh well. some of the cards of the minor arcana are more digestible than others, so it seems that people had trouble with the fives and the sevens earlier, so we went and we did, I think, a 2-part episode on those cards, starting with the fives, ending with the sevens, and then comparing the fives and the sevens together. And actually, that's a really quick tip. If you're having difficulty with your tarot reading or looking at different cards, look at the different cards in comparison with each other. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight for the sixes of the tarot, to compare the Six of Wands, the Six of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Cups all together. And then also comparing different depictions of the sixes from different tarot decks. And don't feel like you have to buy a whole bunch of tarot decks in order to learn about different tarot decks. This is what the internet is for. You can totally look up depictions or pictures of the different cards and different tarot decks, not only to shop for tarot decks, but also to compare and contrast and make and see what that artist tried to convey in their depiction of the sixes, in order to display the tarot meaning of what the sixes mean in the tarot. So that is the topic for tonight's episode. Let me go ahead actually and show you the schedule for the next couple of episodes. So, wrong calendar. Hold on a second here. That was our schedule from October. Let me go ahead and find our schedule for December. Give me 1 second. I see that we have a couple of people watching live. Please feel free to write in the chat if you're watching live. Say where you're tuning in from. I would love to hear it. And even if you're watching the replay, go ahead and say replay and where you're tuning in from. I would love to hear it. Let's see here. So, found it, got it, love it. So, Katie is here. Hello, Katie. Nice to see you. All right. Here we go. So, last week's episode, we had the astrology at the top of the hour, and this is how the episodes are framed. We start off with the astro-weather from Teresa Reed's wonderful AstroBiz Digest, which is a subscription service that you can purchase for yourself, $99 a year. Go find out about that on thetarotlady.com. I will say it again after tonight's astro-weather updates. Then we usually teach a topic, and then we end the episode with the weekend forecast. So tonight we're talking about the sixes of the tarot for tonight's workshop topic. So we'll get to that after the astro weather and before the weekend forecast. Oh, awesome. Great. So Zuri is here. Welcome to the broadcast, Zuri. So happy to see you here. I needed this tonight. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. And Dina is here as well. Awesome. So we have different people tuning in from different platforms, which I really love. I'm using Be Live to simulcast both to my Facebook page and also to my YouTube channel. So welcome to anyone tuning in from either platform. I can see comments from the both of ya from both categories. So feel free to comment with any questions that you have about the sixes of the tarot or tarot in general. I'd love to be able to answer your questions. Aw, thank you. It's always good to see you too, Katie. I appreciate that. Okay, so last week we talked a little bit about the agenda for December. And I've been doing this since, I believe, October. At the top of the month, basically determining which episodes we're going to have and creating a schedule so that you can tune in to the episodes that interest you. We do this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless otherwise noted. So, for example, Friday, December 25th, it's a happy holidays and there's not going to be any show on Christmas Day because there's just not going to be any show on Christmas Day, though I am a witch and I will tell you all about Yule next week, which is what I celebrate. Most people are off on Christmas Day. So I'm going to roll with that. Multitasker. Yes. Yes. Multitasker, but I'm letting Be Live do the multitasking. Otherwise, it becomes very burdensome to have to broadcast to one platform, then download the video, then upload the video to another platform. Like some people do it that way or focus on their audience in only one place. Me, I would rather have the option of streaming to both places, and then I don't have to take the extra step of downloading and then uploading. So yes, I'm a multitasker, but also I'm kind of lazy and I would rather work smarter and not harder, right? So last week's episode, it was basically get out your calendar. Let's look at the next upcoming Fridays and see what we want to learn each week. So that was the crux of last Friday's episode. And we also had a little bit of a rant on freebie seekers and the reason why freebie seekers annoy me. And most of the people that tune into these episodes do not really do that. They understand what the purpose of these episodes are for, which is for learning different workshops, different topics of the tarot, divination, mystical stuff, witchy stuff, which I'm always happy to provide. So if you're here looking for a free reading, it's not the place for it. However, I do always start off the episode with astrology and end the episode with a weekend forecast for the collective. So if you want to tune in for that, feel free to tune in for that. That is the extent of the free reading that I do every episode. Okay? Okay. Yeah, work more efficiently, says Zuri. So there you go. So let us start off. Let's get back to the schedule. So tonight we're doing the sixes of the minor arcana comparison, contrasting the sixes to each other. I will display some of the sixes of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. That way we can show each of the different sixes of the cups, the wands, the pentacles, and the swords to compare them to each other. And then if you would like, we can talk about the sixes from different decks to kind of get a sense of different artists' interpretations of the six energy of the tarot. Also keep in mind that all of the minor arcana numbers are associated with the major arcana number. So the sixes of the tarot would correspond, I believe, with the Lover's card of the major arcana. And that's what's called a tarot constellation. I only want to mention that because we just recently recorded an episode for the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast, in which we talk about both birth and year cards as done by the Tarot School and the Amber Stones, and also as done by Mary Greer's wonderful book, Who Are You in the Tarot? And also Tarot for Yourself. Both books are by Mary Greer. But her Who Are You in the Tarot is specifically more about birth and year cards. So That's the book right here. So look out for that upcoming episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast where we talk about that. We do talk a little bit about the tarot constellations. For example, the Empress would be associated with the threes of the tarot. The Emperor would be associated with the fours of the Minor Arcana tarot deck. So I will probably end up displaying the Lover's Major Arcana card while we're talking about the sixes of the Minor Arcana as well, just to give you a sense of the numerology that goes along with the tarot. Makes sense to everybody? But we'll get into that in a second. First, the astrology. So next week, we are talking about the pagan celebration of Yule, which is kind of the precursor to the Christmas and the winter holidays. And I'm going to explain what's the Holly King, what's the Oak King, why is there usually an emphasis on the light and the child of promise or the child of light. So we'll talk about Yule next week, Friday, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sound good to everyone? And if you would like to tune in live, you'll be able to ask your questions live, and I'll be able to answer some of your questions live. Now, if you watch the replay, you're still going to get a ton of information, and you can still put comments into the replay, and I will get to them when I can, but it's usually better to tune in live for more of a sense of camaraderie and fellowship. And also, we've got a bunch of regular viewers here that tune into the live episode that I interact with. So it's just, I don't know. I find it more fun to tune in live. So when you can, tune in live every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless otherwise noted. And then, of course, I said before, Friday, December 25th, no episode that day. And then we'll move into the new year of 2021, and we'll start up again for January's topics. So probably revisiting birth cards and year cards in that episode. And by the way, we do have a number of previously recorded episodes in the archives section on both, I believe it's free workshops playlist on both Facebook and also my YouTube channel. So go ahead and check out those topics because I've already discussed the year cards. By the way, if you tuned into the year cards episode, I realized very recently that I calculated the year cards wrong. So I thought that I was in a chariot year for 2020, and it turns out that I was in a tower year instead for 2020, which makes total sense in hindsight. And maybe some of you had a tower year as well. So if I had calculated that you were in a chariot year during that broadcast, during that episode, you were actually in a tower year right along with me. So my apologies, mea culpa. But we'll probably revisit that in January and figure out our birth cards and year cards, and I will totally tell you how to do that. So let us dive into the astrology from Teresa Reed's AstroBiz Digest for today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So let me go ahead and pull that up really quickly. I don't need to check on the broadcast over on YouTube because I see people are commenting on YouTube right now. So I know that it's working, so I don't have to pull it up here. All right. And also make sure you are hydrating. I usually, when I grab some water or some of my seltzer, I will usually remind you to do the same because hydration is very important when you're expending psychic energy or just in general. Very important to stay hydrated. Oh boy. Okay. See, where are we? We are in the week of December 7th to the 13th. Okay, let's go. Aw, thank you so much. So Katie says, we are thankful for what we get here. Great topics and education. Thank you so much, Katie. I really appreciate it. Let me move that up, that little widget up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So let me take a sip of my seltzer. Okay, so we are under the energy right now of the Scorpio moon. So the Scorpio moon makes Friday ideal for strategizing, negotiations, and financial dealings. Look under the hood of your business. Where do you need to pivot? What new things are you itching to implement? Are there more efficient ways to serve people? Consider where you need to update and upgrade so your business and yourself can chug along with a minimum of fuss. Intuition is high today. Be sure to trust your instincts in every situation. Watch out for the Moon-Uranus opposition at 8:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, an aspect that could bring unwelcome financial news or online trolls. Other than that nonsense, the day should proceed without too many problems. Today is a power day for Scorpio and a weak day for Taurus. Everyone with me so far for Friday. And keep in mind that everything that I'm saying about the astrology, the AstroBiz Digest is taken from a kind of entrepreneurial perspective. So when I say business, it's usually geared toward business and entrepreneurs, but I find it very helpful to know the astrology on a personal level as well. So take out that businessy wording and tweak it as you see fit. And, it is also helpful to know what your natal chart is, which you can get done online for free by using either I think it's astro.com or cafeastrology.com to be able to calculate your birth chart and find out moon in Scorpio. Well, where is your moon placement and where is Scorpio in your charts? And knowing that, you might be able to determine how this would personally affect you instead of it being a more generalized kind of horoscope. Because remember, we're not just our sun sign. There's many different astrological elements that go into our natal chart. Okay? So that is the astro update for Friday today. Let's see what we have going for this weekend. Saturday puts everyone in a sensitive mood. You'll want to be gentle with others and yourself. Intuition is sharper than Wisconsin cheddar when the moon sextiles Pluto at 11:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you get a psychic nudge, do not ignore it. This is also a great time to take on a leadership role. Inspire your people, and they'll continue to support you. The Moon-Venus conjunction at 3:59 p.m. is super for hot arts, client care, and sex. Giggity, guys. I wouldn't recommend combining the three, though. A Moon-Jupiter sextile at 7:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is most excellent for attracting cash, so be sure to keep your marketing hot and heavy. The moon will march into Sagittarius at 9:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, making the evening ultra sweet for broadcasting, teaching, or business travel. Those are terrific activities to focus on when Sunday rolls around. Just be careful with the Mercury-Neptune square at 6:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will likely not be up that early. A foggy aspect that makes it hard to get the point across. The blowhards will be using this day to push their stupid conspiracy theories. Stay focused on your own business and your own personal life, and let them wear their tinfoil hats however they like. You just keep doing you and your business. Saturday is a power day for Scorpio, a weekday for Taurus. And Sunday is a power day for Sagittarius and a weekday for Gemini. So that is our astro weather from Teresa Reed. Thank you very much, Teresa, for everything that you do. I'm going to go ahead and find the link directly to purchasing the AstroBiz Digest if people want to do that. And it's really not that expensive at all. It's $99 for a year subscription. So that makes it almost like $2 a week. So really, really affordable. And I use it almost every day. So let us see here. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the chat and display it so that everyone has access to it. If you're interested in purchasing it yourself and being able to navigate the stars, I really recommend Teresa's work because she takes something esoteric like astrology and she brings it into layperson's terms, which I really appreciate because I'm not an astrologer, folks. I'm a tarot reader. So I know enough about astrology to be dangerous, but really not enough astrology to call myself an astrologer. So that's the reason why I read from here every single week instead of kind of flailing around and trying to figure it out on my own. You know, go seek out expert opinions, you know? All right, I will display it right here. So it's just thetarotlady.com and /astrobiz digest with hyphens between astro and biz and digest. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now, how has everybody's week been? Is there any particular days that you were experiencing issues or problems? Because I can totally go back into the AstroBiz Digest and take a look at that date to see what was going on astrologically to possibly explain some of the difficulties or the energies that you were navigating. So let me know in the comments, in the chat, and I'd be happy to do that while I hydrate myself before we move on to the sixes of the tarot and move into our main topic for tonight. And while I'm doing that or waiting for comments about how your week has been going, I'm going to go ahead and load up the images that I need for the sixes for tonight's topic. Well, I see the sevens from the last time we talked about specific. There we go. Okay. Got the Six of Swords. Aha. Let's do Six of Cups. Got the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Wands. And like I was saying before, there is a tarot constellation with the sixes that it corresponds to the major arcana card of the Lover's card, which is the sixth card, or numbered 6 in the major arcana. So let me go ahead and load up the Lover's card too. Yep, hold on. Okay. All right. No questions. Further questions about the astrology. Are we ready to tackle the sixes of the tarot? Give me a hell yeah in the chat and let's get going. So, by the way, all right, Katie says, bring on the sixes. So the constellation of the lovers would be the lover's card. The hidden or the teacher card would be the devil card. And then the sixes of the tarot would be the corresponding minor arcana cards. So let me show you the constellation here. Here we go. So we can talk a little bit about that after we talk about the sixes themselves. And I do apologize that I didn't mention that for the fives and the sevens of the tarot. So the fives of the tarot would be associated with the fifth card of the major arcana, which would be the Hierophants. And then the sevens of the tarot would be associated, I believe, with the Chariot card, if memory serves. And by the way, I believe the most recent episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast that was just released today is all about the Chariot Major Arcana card. So you might want to check that out. Yes. Constellation of the Chariot is the Chariots, and the hidden aspect, or the teacher card for that constellation, is the Tower card. And that's associated with the sevens of the minor arcana. So we'll circle back to that. All right, bring on the sixes. So what six should we start with first? Because I know that this was a requested topic. I cannot remember for the life of me who requested it, but I kind of want to know why. Why do you want to know about the sixes? What in particular may be difficult for you with the energy of the sixes? Because when we spoke about the fives and the sevens of the tarot, the first complaint about the fives was it was a difficult energy. And the second complaint was, I don't know the difference between the fives and the sevens of the tarot. To me, they have a similar energy. Now, while that's true, that they do have a similar energy, they don't have exactly the same energy. Otherwise, if they had the same energy, there wouldn't be two separate sets of cards. There wouldn't be fives and sevens. They would just be like the fives of the tarot or the sevens of the tarot. There wouldn't be both. So they are different. And so in that episode, we examined the differences between the fives and the sevens. And then we examined the similarities and the differences between the fives of the tarot and the sevens of the tarot. So that's what we're going to do tonight for the sixes of the tarot. We're going to look at each card individually first, and then we're going to look at all of them together in comparison with each other. And to me, this is one of the best ways to examine and to learn from tarot cards or certain cards that you find to be difficult in interpreting. So, and if people are looking to get a reading from me, you can totally do that. My website is right here below, tarotbyhilary.com. This is not the space for free reading requests, but we will do a weekend forecast at the end of the episode. So stay tuned for that. That's for the collective. Let's start with the Six of Cups. Let's ease in with the Six of Cups. And I am going to take down the overlay here and just leave up my logo, because otherwise the overlay gets a little bit busy and we can't actually see the imagery that we're trying to examine. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and hide that so we can see this a little bit better. So this is an audience participation kind of episode. If you're here watching live, I would love to know your thoughts about what you're seeing in the Six of Cups. Which symbols are sticking out to you? What do you think from those symbols this tarot card might mean for you, if it came up for you as a card of the day, if it came up for you in the space of a reading, what kind of reading or what kind of question may you be asking in which the Six of Cups might appear. I mean, obviously, I've got my bank of keywords that I can definitely bring up when I see the Six of Cups, but I would rather see what you guys think. What are you seeing in this card? Now, I believe when this topic was requested, we were talking a little bit about the month of December and what December might mean to us. And we were also looking at December in conjunction with different international days of gratitude, or Giving Tuesday, or Small Business Saturday, or the start of Hanukkah, or the start of Kwanzaa. So we were trying to tie in some of these topics. And so one of the reasons we're talking about the sixes tonight is because of this particular depiction of the sixes, which is one about resources, giving, gratitude. That's the kind of thing that I think of when I see the Six of Cups. I also think about delegation when I think of the sixes in general. Remembering that the suit of cups is the suit of emotions, of feelings, of the ruled by the element of water. Sometimes it means not just feelings, but also intuition and being psychically guided. This particular card, the Six of Cups, has a feeling of nostalgia to it. Sometimes it can be related to wishing that things were simpler. We could go back to childhood where things seem to be simpler in life. So Katie's saying, obviously looks like an offer. It looks like the boy in the red cap is offering up flowers in a cup to either the little girl or the little woman that's depicted there. So it has this element of give and take. So one point of order for the minor arcana is remember that there can be somewhat of a formulaic way of reading the tarot cards that has nothing to do with intuition or nothing to do with psychic keywords. Sometimes there's just this formula of 6 plus the suit equals the meaning. So that is a way to kind of start out if you're feeling a little bit lost with the tarot, and you want to have a more practical approach that has nothing to do with intuition. I do tend to read intuitively, but I do understand that people like their keywords and they like their formulas to kind of get a groundwork, a footing before they try to bring in their own personal meanings and interpretations. So think of it that way, like the number plus the suit equals the meaning. So the sixes of the tarot in general, the sixes to me mean about delegation and equality, and also a kind of balancing act. You'll see the balance part of it, the give and the take, more so in the Six of Pentacles or the Six of Coins, because we do have the scales coming up as a symbol that's usually used in the Six of Pentacles. So here we have the Six of Cups, and we see flowers in the 6 cups or the 6 chalices. 4 of the chalices are on the ground filled with flowers. There's one behind the boy with the red cap. And also, interestingly enough, that little pillar that that cup is sitting on that pillar, there's an X through it. And I believe that is a runic symbol about, I think it's about generosity or gratitude. And I do believe one of my listeners or one of my followers is doing a blog post series in which he covers tarot for rune lovers or runes for tarot lovers. So there is an association there, with I think it's called Gebo, if I'm remembering correctly, and the Six of Cups. So you may want to keep that in mind. What does it mean that figure? There's a figure over to the left, past that chalice and that pillar and everything. It looks like there's, it's almost like the ramparts of a castle or a town, and there's a guard kind of patrolling the border. Why would that be in the Six of Cups? Because other than that, it's kind of an idyllic kind of scene. So it could be messages of gratitude. It could be messages of give and take. It could be messages of protecting what's yours or protecting your family or your friends or your loved ones. So what does everybody think about that? Did you notice the guard on the wall prior to looking at this card before? Yeah. Can't understand the guard's presence in this card. And I didn't really understand it or even notice it until very recently when I was editing that particular blog article series that I was talking about the association between that rune and this card. Keeping in mind that not all sixes are depicted in this way. Not all Six of Cups are depicted in this way. This is just the classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck. But just know that the symbols are there, and they're, use the symbols that your eye is drawn to when you're interpreting these cards or your personal meaning for these cards. Mm-hmm. That's a really good point, Katie. Also, I negatively see that the flowers in the cup being offered being lower than the one behind the man makes me feel like she is getting the second best offer. That could be totally the case. So is it really an idyllic scene? Is it really one of nostalgia, love, or giving of love or giving of emotions? Or is it that she almost is being cheated by a florist? So remember your emotional state as you're interpreting these cards as well. We talked a little bit about in the fives and the sevens workshop that the Five of Swords can have a smug look on his face, or for the Seven of Pentacles, the person kind of leaning on the garden rake or the hoe, looking at the seven pentacles on the bush that has grown there, either can have a pensive look on his face or a disappointed look on his face. So keep that in mind. Sometimes the facial expressions give a clue as to the meaning. If we want to look a little bit closer here, I don't know. The woman or the little girl doesn't seem entirely happy with the facial expression that she's got, where she's just like, these flowers are wilted. So that's a good point, Katie. It's not all happy-go-lucky, and some of the cards of the tarot are not inherently positive nor negative. Sometimes they are neutral, and we give that meaning. We give the positive or the negative association based on the context of the cards, based on what other cards came up in the reading, based on what our mental or emotional state is that exact moment that we're interpreting. So, very good point. Let's take a look at the Six of Pentacles now. So my little logo is kind of covering over one of the pentacles there. But other than that, you can see it's a pentacle. It's not covering over anything else. So Katie says, it's almost the top cup is to someone else, maybe not even alive, which I suppose could be part of the nostalgia part. Ooh, that's a good point. That's a very good point too. So what are you seeing when you're looking at the Six of Pentacles? And we started out with the Six of Cups just alone on the screen and looking at that in isolation to all of the other sixes. But from here on out, we're going to kind of compare these sixes to each other. What are the similarities? What are the differences? But notice here, the presence of the scales is definitely there. Then notice the body language. The body language is looks very similar, but now there's the same number of figures though, which is interesting because we've got the guard on the wall and then we've got the two people in exchange. Here in the Six of Pentacles, we have 3 figures and we have a kind of similar body language going on, but it definitely looks like the figure on the left is receiving and the figure on the right seems to be having his hands out like, what about me? Yes. Yeah. So I can see the smugness in the Pentacles man giving out the money, again, because he is standing tall with a measured giving, the scales, and the people beggars. Yep. What else are you noticing here? We do have yep. I was just about to say that, castle in the distant background. So keep these kinds of things in mind as you're looking at the tarot cards and the different depictions, because it could very well be, let's see if we can swap it around a little bit here. I'm going to hide this. I'm going to hide this. I'm going to display this one first. And now I'm going to display, hold on, where is it? Uh-oh. Shoot. Where did it go? This doesn't want to slide over, but I'll load it again. Not a problem. That is not what I wanted to do. Okay. All right. What I wanted to do here is I wanted to show, there we go. That's what I wanted. So notice in me switching these two, could it be that the marketplace that we're seeing in the Six of Cups is now the marketplace within the castle walls that is in the distance in the Six of Pentacles? That's the reason why I moved it over, so you can kind of see the, that's over here, or could possibly be over here. Now, it's almost as if this is like a merchant, or it could be a rich person that's like doling things out, like alms for the poor, on the outskirts of the castle, beyond the castle walls. And if you look very closely, there's a lot of color going on here. You've got this almost regal red going on for the man that's standing up, the man that's giving out the money, who has the scales. Then you have the man receiving the money with a bandage around his head. And then you see the man kind of like, what about me? Notice the blue around him, but it looks like there's a tiny pockets and a tiny square of red coming out of his blue robe. Yep, Katie's saying that's my feelings. The beggars on the road outside the castle, right? Because we saw a little bit of this, for example, in the sevens. I believe we were making comparisons between the five of swords and the seven of swords. So sometimes when we're looking at these different cards, or when we're looking at the cards in each suit, it is telling a story along that vein of the minor arcana suits. Or sometimes it can tell a story between the different suits. Like I believe it was the five, I think it was the 5 of swords were the people in the distance, and the 7 of swords on the 7 of swords, if I'm remembering correctly. But so the 6 of Pentacles, so we're starting out with some of the easier concepts, I feel, or some of the more, I don't know if I would say potentially more positive cards rather than negative cards, because remember, there is a neutrality to these cards. So many of them can be either positive or negative based on the context that we're seeing these cards in. But I want to start out with the 6 of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles, because they seem to be a little bit easier to understand rather than harder to understand, kind of easing into the sixes. But the 6 of Pentacles to me is like the bigger card of managing resources, doling things out, generosity, charity, and the differences between, I guess, charity versus pity. So to me, in this particular card, notice how the facial expression can change based on the context of how you're feeling and also the context of the surrounding cards. So Katie right now, she's getting a little bit of a smugness in the Pentacles man, the man that's standing up, doling out the money. And also remember that the 6 of Pentacles isn't just about coins. It isn't just about finances. It also can be about career and job opportunities as well. So if the 6 of Pentacles came up, for example, in a reading about like job opportunities or wanting to get a different job, it may not necessarily mean the money portion of it. It may also mean that there is someone in that role that kind of doles out jobs in the same manner. Or it could be a person giving a job opportunity to someone out of pity rather than out of skills or values. So remember, context is everything when we're talking about the tarot. Yes. Okay, good. I'm remembering correctly about the 5s and the 7s. And the Pentacles man could also be a mean facial expression as well. Yeah, absolutely. So this is partially the reason why I like to start off with that base of the Rider-Waite-Smith, the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, and then from there seeing different depictions of these cards to see how we can have a deeper or more personalized connection to the cards. Because sometimes we have difficulty with these cards because we haven't thought about them, or we're thinking about them in the most literal sense of the tarot rather than expanding our perspective on what it might mean. Like, for example, the Hierophant. I've always had trouble with the Hierophant card until I encountered Chiara Marchetti's Legacy of the Divine deck, in which he replaces the Hierophant card with the card of faith. And to me, it made all of the difference in me understanding the Hierophants for every other deck. So it made me better understand the Rider-Waite-Smith version, because I could pull back from those keywords or those associations or that imagery that made sense to me and apply it where it previously didn't make sense to me. So I hope that's helpful. Let us take a look now at the next card here. Let's go with the Wands. Now, the Wands, the 6 of Wands to me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pair it with the 6 of Pentacles. But if at any time you want to make these different comparisons, you can always, like, if you watch the replay, you can go ahead and pause the replay and take a look within your own tarot deck, or do your own Google search to look at these different images side by side in your own time. Take as much time as you need. But I'm going to go ahead and pair it with the Six of Pentacles. And the reason why I'm pairing it with the Six of Pentacles is because of that red. I don't know. It's sticking out to me, that color red. It's also the color red is also coming up in the red cap and the red pants of the Six of Cups as well. So you see this kind of common color running through these sixes. Red could mean, to me, it's kind of like a royal looking color in the context of these two cards. But normally red can be associated with passion. It can be associated with blood or the lifeblood. It can be associated with anger even. Normally I think of more purple for a regal color, but here it looks like red is a very regal color that we've got going on. Yep. Yeah. Another man in red standing tall, proud, and other people lower than him. Yes. So it's not, I definitely noticing that the larger figures, the larger figures have this kind of like, they have the red elements and they have this kind of imposing, you know, like it's almost as if, you know, there always has to be someone on top. There's always like a winner and a loser. That's kind of a little bit of a, no, I would say it's a negative thing, but it has that kind of theme running through the sixes as well. Is there always a winner or a loser? Is there always, like, if one person is on top, does that mean another person has to be below them in order for the system to work? So, yes. Yes. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So Dina says leadership in wands and pentacles. Yeah. Yeah. Capitalism. Yeah. Sorry, my little widget here is blocking you guys out. My apologies. Actually, let me put this up here. Okay. Capitalism. Yeah, absolutely. So Katie is asking, is that a wreath like a crown on the wands? Yes. Yes. There is usually that laurel, crown of laurels happening, going on in the Six of Wands. And normally the person that's seated on the horse is wearing it. And also it's on that, that staff, that wand that he's holding up. Ooh. That's a good point. It's like the wreath on the wand is like the symbol of stealing somebody else's crown. Fair point. Fair point. So there are a couple of different titles that come up when we talk about the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. Now, when I see the Six of Wands, I'm always thinking about that more traditional title. This card is normally called the Lord of Victory. So when this card comes up in readings, especially about like, is my legal case gonna succeed, or, you know, am I gonna succeed, or different versions of success, this card comes up, I'm just like, yeah, you're probably gonna be successful, but you also have to examine what success means to you, because it doesn't look the same for everyone. So here, it's almost as if it's depicting like a ticker tape parade, or a parade that happens after a battle is won, where they're coming back through and they're parading among the townsfolk. So you got the laurel leaves there. You've got like the victor, to the victor go the spoils, is what comes to mind when I see this card. But you do have to be aware of those people that are in the background. It doesn't seem like everyone's so happy for this person on the horse. So keep that in mind. There's always that positive and negative that happens with some of these cards, especially when we're talking about distribution of wealth, or distribution of emotions, or distribution of passion, or, you know, success in battle. Especially when the Six of Wands comes up reversed, to me, I always think of a Pyrrhic victory. You may win, but is it worth the cost of winning? So keep that in mind, especially if you see the Six of Wands reversed. To me, that usually indicates you win, but is it worth the cost of winning? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Yeah. But it doesn't almost seem like we can't even tell what the person on horseback is thinking because it's in a side profile and it looks as if he's almost looking toward the horizon or looking towards people that might be gossiping in the background. Yeah, the man on the left most in the crowd doesn't look happy. Right. So when that card comes up in a reading, I'm often asking my client, what does success mean to you? I'm also always looking at the context of the surrounding cards, looking around, especially for this particular card when talking about career. I'm looking around this card and I'm looking around for court cards because court cards in association with the Six of Wands usually can tell me who's happy for you versus who is trying to take away from your success. That's just a little side note. That's what I found when I've been doing readings. I have this kind of like tarot shorthand or tarot combinations where I see two cards together and it automatically gives me like one solid message. Okay, let's finish it up. All right, since we compared those two together, let's pull up, oh, hold on a second. Not that one. Not that one. Let's pull up the cups. And that's just happenstance. But notice the figures are echoing each other again. You're absolutely right, Katie. In every single card, we have in every single six, we have a person that's on a higher plane than the other person, for good or for ill. And there's also, it looks like there's three figures in every single card. Okay, so Dina's saying, ooh. So I don't know why you're saying ooh, besides the happy coincidence that once again, we're mirroring the figures in the two different cards. Notice also that there doesn't seem to be an element of red in the Six of Swords. So to me, it's almost as if they're it's like the next step towards I guess the beggar that didn't receive anything. Now they have to travel away. But to me, the Six of Swords is not necessarily a negative card. A lot of the time it means a card of transition. It can mean, notice the waves on the bottom right of the card, and then notice the smooth surface towards the left going towards the top, and the distance in the distant shore as well. So to me, sometimes this card indicates a transition from rough waters into smoother sailing. Again, depending on the context of the reading and what cards come up surrounding, but what does everybody else see? And notice there are three figures here, and it seems almost as if the person that's standing in this card is the person that's doing the work. While in the other cards, where the person is standing, the person is almost like lording or giving, but it's not necessarily of service. This is the only card where it seems like the person that's standing is the one that's rowing. They're the one that's doing the work. They're in service. Yeah, the beggar look again, refugees. Right, exactly. You can't be sure they're going to somewhere better, though. No. You're right. You're right about that. And we don't know that unless we're looking at the surrounding cards that are coming up in the reading. Most of the time, though, it usually is going towards something better. And I usually do say, like what is holding you here? What's keeping you stuck here? Why are you afraid to transition? Why are you afraid to like take that job or make that leap? It's almost like a tinier version of the Fool card energy with the Six of Swords. Like something's got to change here. Otherwise, you're paddling in a circle. Oh, ooh, for my tarot connections. Okay. as long as it's working for people. Six of Swords, powerlessness. Yeah. I mean, it does have it kind of is a little bit of a sad card because you don't have that vibrancy of color like you have in the other sixes. So it's a much more muted card in color. So it could be powerlessness, or it could be the calm after the storm or before the storm. Where's your eye being drawn to in the Six of Swords? That's a good point, Katie. Would you say that your mind is holding you back because it is a swords card? It could definitely be that. I didn't mention about the different cards and what they're associated with. So I think I did, but only slightly. More so of an emphasis with the Pentacles and the Cups and the Wands. The Wands are passion, will, drive. The Cups are emotions and feelings, also some intuition. The Pentacles are about finances, career. It also can be associated with the body and being grounded. It's the element of earth. And then for swords are the suit of conflict and communication, and they're ruled and intellect as well. And that is ruled by the element of air. We can do different elemental associations because sometimes people switch the wands and the swords association, and they have wands as air and swords as fire. But I typically have swords as air. So yeah, it's definitely a mind card. And it could be that your mind is holding you back because it's a swords card. Or it could be that you need to communicate in order to find that transition or to go that next step. This card, the Six of Swords, to me is one of those leveling up cards and showing that you're leveling up. So you're looking towards the swords, so all those negative swords seem to be in the way. It's almost as if they're rowing to that far shore there, but it's not just like a passenger boat. It's also freight as well. Just like they could be swordsmiths, and they're bringing their merchandise onto the next shore. I mean, if you're ever at a loss for what the tarot means, you can always go back to telling the story. How did those figures get there? Why are they fleeing? Are they fleeing? Are they merchants? Are these two figures under guard, and the guy that's rowing is actually their jailer? Definitely different ways and different perspectives of seeing each and every card of the tarot deck, all 78 cards. The sunken shoulders of the seated figure. Yeah, I mean, it has this kind of feeling of defeat when you see the sunken shoulders, but sometimes in the different depictions of the Six of Swords, you might be getting something different. Like it could be that their shoulders are slumped in relief rather than defeat. Like, oh, I finally got out of there. Right, exactly. Swords can also be a symbol of protection. They're sitting between the swords, so the swords could be protecting them. Absolutely. So let me see here. So we've got this. All right, I was trying to display all 4 of them at the same time. Hold on a second here. I'm not sure why it's not giving me the option for audio only. Let me display all of them. Can everyone still hear me? Oh, great. I had tried to do this before, I think the last episode, and for some reason, no one could hear me. So these are the sevens, the sixes, all together. So you got the 6 of swords, the 6 of cups, the 6 of wands, and the 6 of pentacles. Let's also throw the lovers on there. Oh, I don't think I can display more than that, unfortunately. Yeah, they don't quite seem as positive as you would hope, even though there seems to be some progress. All the 6s have some negative aspect to them. Slumped people, someone having strength over others. Oh. Okay, good. For a second there, some people were hearing me and not others, but it sounds like everyone's hearing me now. So 6s have some negative aspect to them. Slumped people, someone having strength over others. Yeah, definitely. There is a dichotomy going on there with the 6s. You would think that you would have that kind of feeling in the 5s, which is the middle card, but it's not. It's the 6s of the tarot. Let us show... Yep, a story. That's true. Story of the ups and downs of life, for definite. So let me go ahead and hide some of these. Come back on again. All right, can you hear me and see me? Because now we're going to look at the Lover's card really, really quickly in conjunction with these. And I'm going to clear out my my multimedia panel in here. So with the Lover's card is the 6 of the major arcana. And again, we have 3 figures here, don't we? We've got the angel with the hair on fire, kind of presiding over everything. We've kind of got this Adam and Eve thing going on. You've got the tree of knowledge and the fruit of knowledge behind her. You've got like the fire of will behind the guy. And, you know, there is this kind of dichotomy going on. But notice with the 6, with the Lover's card, it looks equivalent, right? Like, in looking at the 6s of the minor arcana, how are these 6s different from the Lover's card? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? And why do you think the 6 of the Lover's card is associated with the 6s of the minor arcana, besides it both being the 6? That's true. But the one that's in the higher position, that's an angel. It's not a man. It's not a rich person. Stronger figure in red. because you've got the red wings and you've got the fire as well. To me, the association of the Lover's card with the sixes of the minor arcana is that kind of reminder for balance, a reminder for it not to get that way. But it is a more powerful figure, yes. Before the eight of the fruit of knowledge, they had all of the minor, before the eight of the fruit of knowledge, then had all the minor arcana experiences. All cards of transition. Yep. So I often say with the Lover's card, changes of situation, but they're all cards of transition, but the type of transition or the type of delegation is just a little bit different depending on the minor arcana suit. When I see the Lover's card, I often have this. There is a conversation that I have with my client where they're just like, I'm looking for a new partner, and then they see the Lover's card that comes up, and they're just like, yeah, hot dog, and I'm just like, no, wait. Wait a second. Because the Lover's card, while it does have this little bit of an appeal of like Mr. Right Now versus Mr. Right, I'm not going to say that I haven't seen that kind of energy in the Lover's card. More often, it's about choice. It's about that fork in the road. Because in the major arcana, up until now, the Fool is on a very linear path. He meets the Magician. He meets the Empress. He meets the High Priestess. He meets the Emperor. And he meets the Hierophant. And then when you get to the Lovers, that is like the fork in the road. And that's like the first time the Fool is actually being given an option of which way to go or what to do. It's when his free will starts to come into effect. So to me, it really does make sense that the Lover's card is associated with the sixes of the minor arcana, because we saw a little bit of, delegation, choice, pity, charity, success. There's a lot going on. So for the constellation of the Lovers, from Who Are You in the Tarot, the principle of relatedness and choice. The Lovers have the astrological correspondence of Gemini, and the card functions within the constellation: urge to unite, choice to love, ourselves in relation to others. Definitely what we're seeing in the sixes, right? So even a choice between heavenly path or earthly path. Yep, that's true. Very, very true. Attraction and division, synergy and separation, exchange, sharing and relating, reciprocity, vitality, sensuality, connectedness, ability to discriminate between good and evil, temptation, and obsession. So, folks, if you've got the birth card or the birth cards of the Lovers, you may find yourself having those kind of conversations more so than others. Hold on. Both designs focus on an initiation, a choice being made to experience knowledge that was previously unknown or unavailable. This knowledge is traditionally couched in carnal terms. Unity is broken. From the separation comes the desire to reunite in order to create something new that is different from the originator. I'm looking at the minor arcana sixes now. So the sixes show how to sustain relationships. They are the gifts and challenges that those in the constellation of the Lovers must face in relating to others and the world around them. All the minor arcana sixes, which in the Golden Dawn system represent the best of their suit, seek a reciprocal balance of energies. So Six of Wands represents the gift of victory that can come from working with others to achieve a goal. This card can show the self-confidence and pride that comes from creatively solving a problem. When your work is recognized, you feel elevated. Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and display that as I'm talking about it. Of course, I removed it from my media again, silly me. All right, let me see. Hold on 1 second. It's loading. All right, it doesn't want to load right now. Of course it doesn't want to load. Why? It's being stubborn and cranky. Ah, there we go. Okay. So when your work is recognized, you feel elevated above those around you, but your pride can make you forget where you came from and those who helped you get where you are. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but if this interests you in relation to your birth card and year cards and everything, it's a really great book to get. Who Are You in the Tarot by Mary Kay Greer. So that's 6 of Wands. Okay. 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups represents the exchange of love and pleasure that two people can bring to each other. You take advantage of your opportunities to let dear ones know how you feel. Don't hold back or you will regret it. After the disappointment and hurt of the 5 of Cups, the 6 of Cups poses the real test. Are you willing to accept an apology, forgive, and let go of your pain? Can you be the one to ask first for forgiveness? Are the memories of your happiness together strong enough to sustain you through separations? And it also can talk about the relationship with children as well. You're a romantic who will always fall for the hearts and flowers routine. You enjoy being showered with love and are hungry for tender words and a caring touch. So, 6 of Swords, which of course I removed as well. Hold on a second here. Swords, 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords represents the gift of support in adversity. It is the ability to stick with someone when their luck has run out or to help them through difficult times and transitions to new phases. It is also the challenge of maintaining personal perspective and mental tranquility during times of turmoil. This card indicates that you must be willing to cross the water to see the other person's point of view. In resolving arguments, you must lay all the swords on the table in order to achieve clarity and unruffled communications. With distance, it's possible to rise above the particular situation so that you can begin to see the larger pattern and determining some meaning behind it and what actions are necessary. There are times where you must leave others behind to break through relationship patterns that obsess and bind you. So is this interesting to everyone? It's definitely showing me more information about the minor arcana 6s. Okay. Finally, the 6 of Pentacles. I think we got everything else, didn't we? Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles. Oh, oh good. Andrea is here. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Andrea, I don't think I've ever done your birth cards for you. And as they relate to the minor arcana 6s or whatever your birth card is, there is a there's a correlation, the constellation, where the major arcana is there. There's a hidden factor or a teacher card there, and it's also associated with the minor arcana. So this would be the constellation of the Lovers. Because we're talking about the 6s of the tarot. But I'd be definitely like, if this is fascinating to you guys, fascinating information, like I would be more than willing to calculate your birth cards for you. So just let me know, send me an email or send me a message, give me a little time to calculate, and I'm happy to do that for you. This is actually some work that I've done with clients as well while they're waiting to have their reading done. There's actually a specific group of 3 women that I read for every year. Like, shout out to you guys. I see you. Can't wait to read for you again soon. Where they get together and each of them gets a reading, but I usually assign homework. And so I will bring whatever is fascinating me at the moment. At that particular point, it was a couple of years ago, I brought this book and they all did their birth cards and calculated their birth cards. And the funny thing about that is once they sat down for their reading, their birth cards were coming up in the cards that were coming up in their reading. So it was almost like a further emphasis or a confirmation of that they were on the right track. So yes, so birth cards are based on birth dates. So it would be the birth month, birth date, birth year. And then you can also calculate your cards for times in your life where you had struggle, where you know, like, oh, 2007 was a really hard year for me. I kind of want to know what was the tarot card energy for that year as applicable. What was my year card? And you can calculate it ahead as well for the year 2021. For example, my year card for the year 2020 was the Tower card, which makes total sense based on, hindsight. So we can definitely talk about that in January and do an episode of that. So yeah, exactly. There are no coincidences. I totally agree with you there, Andrea. And it's good to see you. So finally, the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles offers the gift of success in relationships, achieved through generosity of spirit and sharing your resources. Each person's wants and needs must be considered equally. At its best, love gives you a feeling of abundance that you share magnanimously with no fear of running out. Benevolence is an infinitely renewable resource. Many of our personal as well as our global relationships are based on dynamics between those who have and those who don't. I mean, we definitely talked about this when we talked about the Six of Pentacles before. Doling out your attentions, promises, sexual favors, or finances can be a manipulative means of keeping people bound to you. Your challenge is to give with no conditions, according to your ability, and contrariwise, to receive what is freely given. Only then will you find true stability and security in your relationships. When success is measured in terms of what you give, everyone shares in it. When it is measured in terms of what you get, then you are chained to the need for more. So that's straight from Mary Greer's Who Are You in the Tarot about the sixes. Specifically, if you are in the constellation of the Lovers, if that's your birth card. So if that's interesting to you guys, also we just did a Card Slingers Coast to Coast recording about birth cards and year cards. So stay tuned for that in the new year. We're recording ahead so that we have a bunch of episodes already recorded and ready to be released. Today's episode that was released was on the Chariot Major Arcana card. So there you go. All right. Well, let me write that down. So yeah, we'll definitely do an episode on birth cards. And I did do it last year based on year cards, but then as I said before at the top of the episode, I completely borked it and I calculated the wrong year or the wrong card. So I ended up saying it was a Chariot year for me for 2020, and absolutely was not. It was a Tower year. So remember to read the instructions carefully before going live and giving all this information to everyone, because you might be incorrect in how you calculate it. And it's really quite interesting. It's like kind of addition to subtract down. So you're adding all of the digits in your birth month, birth day, birth year all together. And then you're adding until you get down below from like 1 to 22. So you're looking to find that connection to the major arcana of the tarot. So it's like a different kind of math system. Basically, what you want to do is you want to have a number that comes up that's associated with your birthday. So, but like I said, we did already record this episode, so it's gonna be out there in the new year. And I also did do an episode last year, I think called Goal Setting with the Tarot, I believe was the name of the episode. And in that, I talk a little bit about year cards and birth cards. So you can check out that episode in the meantime. Okay, I think that's it. I think we've covered all of the sixes of the tarot, and I think we're ready for the weekend forecast. What say you all? I mean, if you have additional questions, go ahead and ask them now for the sixes, and then we'll move into the weekend forecast. And I'm going to go ahead and put my overlay back on. And I'm going to hydrate myself. And while I'm waiting for some questions, if there are questions about the sixes of the tarot, let me go ahead and find you the birth card calculator from the Tarot School, which is a really quick and easy way to figure that out. The method may differ from what I just described in Who Are You in the Tarot, but I think it's a good resource to have. The Tarot School. All right. It's called a birth card calculator. So let me put that into the chat. So really quickly, like mine is very obvious, the birth cards that I have, because I'm a triple fire sign. I'm a triple Aries. So I have my sun sign is in Aries, my Venus is in Aries, and my Mars is in Aries. So I'm a very fiery person, very ruled by Aries in my natal charts. And so when I did my calculator, both through that method that I just told you in this book, and also the birth card calculator that I've just shared, which I'm going to go ahead and display here, I am a Death Emperor. So Emperor and Death. So the Emperor is my, I guess what you would call my soul card, my birth card. And then the Death card is kind of like the counterpoint teacher kind of element to it. So it's like lessons to be learned as well. Like Emperor is like the energy that I'm comfortable with, and that like that's how I present myself, that's how I lead, that's how I am. But the Death card is more of the lessons that I have to learn in this lifetime. So the Death card is very much about like, so the Emperor card is about leadership and everything, but then the Death card is just like about inevitability and structure and constrictor and don't tell me what to do. So it's fun. So when you calculate your birth cards, you're going to get two. It's going to get two, if not three. So go ahead, use that calculator in good health. And when you do that, you're not just going to get the calculation. It's not going to just tell you, oh, you're this, and then it's not going to tell you what that means. They have a description for every single birth card combination on there. So you can totally find that out and see what that means to you. Okay? Yeah, Mama, triple fire, lots of fire. So, all right, let us move on to the weekend forecast. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you got a lot out of the Sixes of the Tarot workshop. And it looks like we're going to be talking more about birth cards and year cards again, revisiting kind of that episode that I did last year, but also adding to it and really talking about the birth card portion of it and how, you know, being informed about our personality and the tarot cards that are associated with our birth dates can actually help us navigate that energy instead of working against that energy. It's the same kind of thing that I say about Mercury retrogrades. Let's learn how to work with that energy rather than against that energy, right? So, weekend forecast. I am going to grab from an oracle deck this time, because that's just what I'm feeling. I want to pull from the Moonology Oracle cards by Yasmin Boland, artwork by Nyx Rowan. This is the Moonology Oracle cards, 44 cards in here. So this is an oracle deck. It is not a tarot deck. There is a difference. And I talked about that on a previous episode if you want to check that out. So for those of you who were asking for readings at the top or the middle of the episode, now is the time. I don't do free readings, but I do a weekend forecast for the collective at the end of every episode. So what do we need to know for the weekend? All right. Now, keeping in mind that these are Moonology Oracle cards and that the astrological energy is not the same, or is not what I'm about to say here. So keep in mind, like when it says here, new moon in Taurus, the new moon is not in Taurus right now. I already gave astrological information at the top of the episode. So this particular oracle deck, we're going to, yes, it's talking about the new moon in Taurus, but we're going to focus more on the message that that's giving us rather than the astrology that goes behind it, because the new moon is not in Taurus right now. Just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and look up what the new moon in Taurus, prosperity lies ahead, means. Besides just prosperity being ahead. Okay. So keeping in mind that the new moon is not in Taurus right now, and it's not a new moon either. This card will often come up when you're inquiring about a financial matter or when you're doubting your self-worth. This card suggests you can have what you want, including material things, but you must believe in yourself. This comes down to the laws of attraction. Value yourself and others will value you too. You can create abundance. Taurus is associated with the luxurious Venus, and this card holds the new moon energy, so now is a good time to make a 12-month financial plan. This card can also signal the start of a new relationship or of sexier times. If you've been wrestling with something for a long time, the new moon in sturdy Taurus is a sign not to give up just yet. So get or give a massage, healthy body, healthy mind. Additional meanings for this card. You will soon be able to afford the thing you've been dreaming of. Getting clear on what you value most will help you find peace. Take some time out to pamper yourself. Start a standing order to a savings account, no matter how small. Which means put a set number or set monetary number towards a savings account each month or each day or each week. So the teaching that goes along with this card, we often feel that it's somehow wrong to focus on our finances, but the truth is that money can make life far more comfortable from a physical point of view. This is the time to work your magic to create the money you want so that you can have the creature comforts you want. Remember, though, that someone else is still wishing for what you already have. So remember to practice that attitude of gratitude while you're also looking for prosperity. There you go. Yeah, the new moon is coming through. I can't remember where it is though right now. Let me take a look. because the moon is sextile Pluto, 11:17 a.m. tomorrow. Let me take a look. The moon entered Virgo on Monday, so it's not currently in Virgo, I don't think. So keep in mind, if you work with an oracle deck that's astrologically based, sometimes the astrology that goes into the oracle deck might conflict with the astrology that's actually going on right now. All right. Good. I'm glad that it's helping you. And yeah, that's what it's there for. You know, the weekend forecast is there to help you guys work with the energy rather than against the energy, just like the astrology at the top of the hour as well. So I think we are done. Oh, okay. Thank you, Dina. Thank you for the astrological update. Will be a new moon in Sagittarius coming up. Sagittarius, I believe, is kind of like a truth-telling new moon. Actually, let me go ahead and look that up too. Why not? New moon in Sagittarius, right? 58. Okay. Let's do that as well. I don't know when, but that's the next one coming up. Luck is on your side. New moon in Sagittarius. Whatever is coming your way, it looks set to put a smile on your face. The new moon in Sagittarius can mark the restart of fun after a period of feeling low. The energy is adventurous and even willing to take a few risks. But be careful you don't bet the farm on something here, as the Wheel of Fortune is still spinning. This card is about exploring, or this energy is about exploring life metaphorically by exchanging big ideas with others or just thinking about your own philosophies. Perhaps it's trying to change your mind about something important. It can also signal that a trip away is coming up if that's something you're working to achieve. But the overall message of this energy is that whenever happens next will be some sort of gift, even if that means simply widening your worldview. That's right. Sagittarius energy here. So counting your blessings literally, write them down or say them out loud. You need to laugh more. This is a wonderful time to start a course of study or teaching. Don't be narrow-minded. Start a week of gratitude practice, e.g. via Facebook, a journal, or a blog. So that attitude of gratitude is still coming back even from the previous card, right? Sagittarius is a sign of fun, travel, exploration, and the great cosmic quest. It is a sign of big ideas. Its energy is expansive, upbeat, lucky, and divine. The new moon in Sagittarius exudes all this, as does the card whenever you draw it. Nothing is set in stone with Sagittarius, and an optimistic energy could attract all manner of good things if you tap into the energy by expecting the best. So that's the kind of, let's roll those two things into one big weekend forecast. How about that? All right, I think that is it. Just a reminder of upcoming episodes. So we just covered today the sixes of the tarot. Next week, we are going to be talking about Yule, and no show on December 25th. Just a reminder that we do this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both Facebook and on YouTube as well. So once again, I am your host, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. And don't argue with me, you have intuition. All right, have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, Friday, 6:30 p.m.